The world is not a fair place, and we can easily notice this. Life is full of evil, and sometimes the wrongdoings of bad people go unpunished. These unaccounted for evils make one question the concept of justice once again. So, how should we fight against this injustice in the world? Should we accept the unjust nature of the world and submit to evil, or should we punish these bad people through the legal system? Or should we establish justice by responding to evil with evil, following the principle of an eye for an eye? The anime Death Note offers us profound insights into morality, justice, and the concepts of good and evil. These themes gain even more depth when viewed through the ideas of philosophers like Plato and Bernard Williams. This video explores the philosophy of Death Note. Light Yagami, an exceptionally intelligent and successful high school student, one day notices a book falling outside the window during class. After class ends, he picks up the book from where it landed and sees that it is titled Death Note. This book, which also comes with a set of instructions, claims that whoever's name is written on its pages will die. Light decides to test its validity on a criminal, and shortly after writing the person's name, he witnesses their death, realizing that the notebook truly works. However, he does not stop at just one person. With such a power in his hands, he wishes to use it for what he believes to be a noble cause and begins systematically writing the names of criminals in the notebook. He also wants people to become aware of these actions. However, he knows that carrying out these executions under his real name is impossible. Therefore, he operates under the alias Kira and gains a massive following on the internet. Kira elevates his actions to such an extent that he becomes more effective than the country's legal system itself. But before questioning whether Kira represents justice, we must first answer a fundamental question. What exactly does the concept of justice mean? In The Republic, Plato makes observations about the concept of justice and realizes that its function is not to make people virtuous, but rather to deter them from committing crimes through the fear of punishment. The story of Jaiji's ring, which appears in this book, helps us better understand this idea. Jaiji's, an ordinary shepherd who had never harmed anyone, one day stumbles upon a ring in a cave. After putting it on, he discovers that it grants him invisibility. With this newfound power, he seduces the queen, murders the king, and then declares himself the new ruler. But why does a man who was previously harmless become so ruthless the moment he gains the power of invisibility? Plato realizes that people are not inherently moral, but rather fearful. What prevents them from committing crimes is not their virtue, but their fear of being exposed and punished. With this observation, Plato leaves us with an unsettling question. If no one were watching, would we still choose to be moral? While this perspective may seem pessimistic about human nature, it also demonstrates that justice systems work in practice by reducing wrongdoing. Even though they are built on an insincere form of goodness, they still discourage people from committing crimes by instilling fear through exposure and punishment. A malicious person will hesitate to act if they know the justice system is watching them. Kira, too, understands this practical function of justice. However, instead of punishing criminals through imprisonment, he adopts a far harsher method: execution. Initially, Kira's approach appears effective. Crime rates begin to drop significantly, reinforcing his motivation. But as Kira becomes fanatically devoted to his ideals, he begins to lose control. He starts killing not just criminals, but also innocent people who stand in his way. He even manipulates and exploits his own girlfriend to deceive the police. Yet something seems off about this transformation. Before finding the Death Note and taking on the persona of Kira, Light Yagami did not seem like someone who would engage in such unethical behavior. In fact, in one episode, when he relinquishes ownership of the notebook and loses all memories associated with it, the difference between Light without the Death Note and Kira is like night and day. Yes, encountering the Death Note changed Light. His devotion to his self-proclaimed noble ideal made him justify unethical actions. However, another crucial factor played a role: the anonymity that the notebook granted him. Knowing that he could act without being seen and that there would be no consequences allowed his darker side to surface more easily. But Kira's descent into darkness did not stop there. As his ideology merged with his ego, he became a completely different person, one consumed by his own power. Is Kira's ideal of a just world truly achievable? Can a world completely free of crime and evil ever exist? This is where L comes into play. Working alongside the police, he is just as intelligent as Kira and, like him, operates under an alias. However, L and those around him do not believe in Kira's vision of an ideal world. Not only do they think it is impossible to create a world purified of crime, but they also reject Kira's methods of achieving that goal. While Kira attempts to enforce justice by killing criminals, L seeks justice by stopping Kira. To L, Kira's actions do not create justice. Instead, they increase the world's injustice. L's understanding of justice closely resembles the ideas of philosopher Bernard Williams. Williams argues that individuals who strive to create an ideal world, people like Kira, become obsessively devoted to their ideals. They focus solely on outcomes, believing that their actions will ultimately lead to a better world. Because of this, they do not hesitate to violate ethical principles if it means achieving their goal. However, Williams criticizes this approach, stating that evaluating actions solely by their results is flawed. No matter how good an outcome may seem, if an action itself contains wrongdoing, it should not be carried out. Similarly, L believes that no matter how noble Kira's ideal may appear, his actions are inherently evil, making him a criminal. Now let's look at this from a different perspective. If Kira had succeeded in creating a just world, eliminating crime entirely, would L or those who think like him then consider Kira's actions to be good? This raises an intriguing question that Kira himself highlights. The concepts of good and evil are often dependent on circumstances. For example, can we truly call someone like Gaijis evil? He only committed immoral acts after gaining the power of invisibility. Had he never obtained the ring, he might have continued living as an ordinary, harmless shepherd. Likewise, the people we consider good in our society might not remain virtuous if they were given the same power as Gaijis. Similarly, if Kira had successfully established a world free of crime, he might have been considered good. However, the breaking point lies in Kira's methods. For L and those who oppose him, no matter what the goal is, killing people in pursuit of it is unacceptable. This is where the fundamental clash between their views on justice takes place. Does the end justify the means, or does the morality of an action stand independently of its results? Creating a just world has always been an ideal that humanity strives for. Some, like Kira, believe that achieving justice requires taking lives, while others argue that responding to evil with evil is fundamentally wrong. However, Death Note does not provide a definitive answer on which side we should take. What it does show us, from the first episode to the last, is this. No matter how noble your vision of justice may be, if you sacrifice your moral values in pursuit of that goal, you ultimately become a part of the very injustice you sought to eliminate.